Hi, my name is Jeff. Hi, my name is Josh, and this is every pair of football boots that I've ever broken. And I've broken a lot. So many of you guys have suggested that I make follow-up reviews on the durability of the boots that I've been testing, which is a great idea, but here's the problem. I don't actually consistently wear the same boots for 3 months at a time because I'm always testing new boots. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but there are new boots coming out basically every 3.5 minutes. So while I would love to do long-term reviews on all the boots, I realistically just can't do that because if you guys want my opinions and honest reviews on the latest products, I have to wear the latest products, and the latest products are always coming out, which means that I'm always wearing new boots, which means that I'm never really testing long-term durability. And just to put this out there, let's say hypothetically I wore the same boots for 3 months, and after that 3-month period, something actually broke. The sole plate separated from the upper. That doesn't mean that just because my pair did that every single pair is going to do the exact same thing after 3 months of use. That's typically why I don't comment on durability unless there's something clearly wrong with the design of the boots. So with all of that out of the way, based on what I can remember from sitting here for basically an hour writing things down, here's every single pair of football boots that I've ever broken. And if you do end up enjoying this video, please don't forget to support it with a like. And if you are new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on daily content from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. The Nike Mercurial Vapor 4. I actually returned 2 pairs to Nike warranty. The first pair got returned because of a cat pee smell issue. Very long story, but basically once you wore the boots, something in the material would rot and they would end up smelling like cat urine. Not a great smell. Nike replaced them for free. And that replacement pair, after I would say probably a full 2 seasons of use, eventually the back heel studs, they were using kind of a split sole weird design at that point in time where the heel studs were attached separately on both the left and right side of the boot. It was very common for those heel studs to break off on the Vapor 4 as well as the Vapor 3s. That eventually happened to my Vapor 4s. Speaking of Vapors, the Nike Mercurial Vapor 4 SL, which was a dream boot for me as a kid that I broke the very first time that I wore. I'm not going to tell the story in this video because I told the story in a completely separate video. Leave a pop-up on screen if you want to check it out. But if you're having a bad day, go watch that video because I had a worse day. It's actually a pretty funny story. The Nike T90 Laser 2. 2 pairs. I've talked about this before, but the T90 Laser 2 goes down as one of my all-time personal favorite football boots. It's very clunky by today's standards and really kind of a flawed design in a lot of ways, but it's a pair of boots mainly down to Fernando Torres and Wayne Rooney, who I was huge fans of at the time. I just really liked those boots. And the first pair that I had, unfortunately, after probably about 2 months of wear, the stud ended up breaking off because the stud pattern on the T90 Laser 2s basically had these bladed studs that ran across the foot right through the middle of the forefoot. It worked really well in terms of traction, but I think the sheer amount of force that got applied on those studs because of the angle that they were positioned at just caused the stud tip to basically just snap off randomly. So that happened to my first pair. Then I got my replacement pair and pretty much the same thing happened, although it took a little bit longer the second time around. The Adidas F50 Tunit. This is a pair of boots that I was really excited to get as a kid, and they actually ended up causing me an injury pretty much the first time that I wore them, mainly due to my own fault in that I was doing a lot of running on concrete in the boots, but I basically ended up bruising my heel. Either way, once I returned from injury and started actually playing in my brand new boots, I lost a lot of Tunit studs, which doesn't really count as the boots breaking, but it was very common for the actual chassis, which was basically the internal sole plate where you screwed the studs into that went inside of the upper, because it was 3 pieces that kind of connected to make the F50 Tunit system, essentially football boot Legos. Very common for that internal chassis to just snap in half basically through the midfoot, and that is eventually what happened to my pair. The Nike Tiempo Air Legend 2, which looking back is a pair of boots that I think I underappreciated as a kid because I wasn't really that excited about them, but I had them in the black and Volt colorway, which I think looked really good. They were extremely comfortable. They fit really well. They're excellent boots, but after probably about 2 months of wear, the sole plate basically ended up separating from the upper, which is a pretty common issue with a lot of football boots, even to this day, and they broke. Sticking with the Tiempo theme, I had the Nike Tiempo Ronaldinho's first ever signature model, but it was the first takedown model, which still featured really nice leather for the time, but again, just like the Tiempo Legend 2s that I had, the sole plate ended up separating from the upper, which was actually at an out-of-town tournament, so I ended up having to go to a local local sports store, and I think I ended up buying some really cheap takedown model Predator Absolutes, or at least that's what the top end model would have been at that time. And I had to wear those for the rest of the tournament, otherwise I wouldn't have had any boots to wear. Speaking of Predators, the Adidas Predator Absolute in the launch black, white, and red colorway. These were actually excellent boots that I wore for the better part of 2 years, or at least had them in my possession for the better part of 2 years. Probably the most durable top-end model that I had as a kid, but eventually after 2 years, the sole plate separated from the upper. The Adidas AdiPure 2, I had these in white and black, and maybe it's a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but I wasn't a huge fan of the boots. They seemed like a good idea at the time. They felt great at the store, but once I actually got the chance to play in them, I just found that they didn't fit me all that well, and I wasn't really a huge fan of the burrito style tongue thing that they had going on. Either way, they didn't end up lasting that long. The leather was extremely thin and very soft on those boots. So as with a lot of the boots on this list, the sole plate separated from the upper, I believe at the toe. The Nike CTR 360 Maestri 1. I had these in white, blue, and silver. And a lot of people look back very fondly on the CTR 360 line, with a lot of people believing that the Maestri 3, the final version, was the best of the bunch. And that's a fair argument to make. But personally, I really liked the original Maestri 1. Super comfortable, hard to believe that it was a synthetic Kangalite upper, but it just felt really good on feet. And this is a pair of boots that I wore pretty much for an entire season, and then shortly into the second season in the boots, eventually the sole plate separated from the upper on the lateral side of the forefoot. It was kind of a weird spot, kind of random, but it did end up happening. The OG 2010 leather F50 Adizeros from Adidas. I had them in the Messi World Cup colorway, so it was the chameleon purple, the kind of color change to a little bit of green with the white stripes. I had them as soon as they came out, really excited about them. And in all fairness, those boots basically don't weigh anything, so you would never really expect the durability to be that great. And they actually held up for a pretty good amount of time. But eventually, as with a lot of boots here, the sole plate separated from the upper. And then the final boot on this list, which if you had a pair, you probably broke a pair as well, was the Nike Hypervenom Phantom 1. This goes down as arguably one of the best modern football boots ever. Super soft with that Nike skin upper, but they did overstretch, and partially because the upper softened up so much and they stretched so much, it was very common for the sole plate to separate from the upper, which is what happened if you were wondering. And that's pretty much it for this list, guys. You got a little bit of a brief history on some of the boots that I had growing up as a kid, as well as all the boots that I broke growing up as a kid. If you guys enjoyed this video, please support it with a like. Also, I'm actually really curious which boots you've broken over your lifetime. Leave that down below in the comments, and I'll take a look at everything you guys have to say. And if you by chance have any questions regarding stuff that I talked about in this video, leave that down below in the comments as well, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. If you're not subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. All my social media information is linked down below as well, so if you want to follow me there, be sure to go and do that. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.